Secrets always have a way of coming out, no matter how much we want to hide them. Some manage to stay buried for decades, but never forever. I'm Mike with List 25, and today I'm going over 25 interesting facts about best kept secrets. But before we begin, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content. It truly helps the channel. Thank you so much. With that being said, let's go. 25. BT Tower. This 620-foot skyscraper was hidden in plain sight for 28 years, right in the heart of London. Could people see it? Yes. Could they enter it? Also yes. But was it on a map? No, absolutely not. This mammoth of a building was classified as a state secret from 1965 to 1993. Worst kept secret in history. Despite being obscenely visible from all over London, and even operating as a public observation gallery that anyone, including tourists, could visit, the British government refused to acknowledge its existence. The tower had no recognized address and was treated by the government as if it weren't even there. The charade ended on February 19, 1993, when Labour MP Kate Hoey used her parliamentary privilege to confirm it was real. As if no one knew. As if every single person living in London didn't see it on a daily basis. So yes, the British government kept a 620-foot tower a secret by refusing to talk about it. Peak British bureaucracy. 24. Joe Hill. Joe Hill is a successful horror and fantasy author who was born with a whole lot of talent. Talent that he got from his father. For the first decade of his career, he kept his parentage a secret and chose a pen name so people wouldn't compare his work to his ultra-famous father's. Born Joseph Hillstrom King, he was the second child of the king of horror himself, Stephen King. His secret was so well kept that even his literary agent had no idea about his true identity. He was determined to be judged solely on his own merit and not his last name. The strategy worked, and he achieved massive success with his novels and short stories. He earned recognition and awards before finally telling everyone that he was the son of a living legend. By the time people found out he was a Nepo baby, no one cared. He'd already proven himself, and for some, they like him more than his dad. Now that's quite an accomplishment. 23. Ex-wife loses big in this game of chance. Some secrets come back to bite you, which is the case for Denise Rossi. In 1996, she won $1.3 million in the California lottery. Not one to share, she decided to divorce her husband, Tom, 11 days later without telling him about her windfall. Not at all. She kept that money hush-hush all the way through the divorce proceedings. Tom had no idea until 2 years after the divorce was finalized, and that's when things took a turn. Tom wasn't about to sit back and let his rich ex stay rich. He hauled her into court and sued her for fraud. In 1999, a California judge sided with the scorned ex and awarded Thomas the entire $1.3 million as a penalty for Denise's deliberate concealment of community property. Denise went from living the high life to being broke, all because she lied. Her ex-husband walked away with every single penny, the judge read her the riot act, and Denise was left with nothing but egg on her face. Moral of the story? If you win the lottery, don't divorce your partner unless you're ready to split it. Community property laws will catch up to you. 22. Armored Bulldozer. In 2004, a man named Marvin Heemeyer shocked the small town of Granby, Colorado with a secret project years in the making, a killdozer. And what exactly is a killdozer? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's an armored bulldozer that Heemeyer created after feuding with local officials over zoning disputes. He spent months modifying the bulldozer to encase it in layers of steel and concrete. On June 4, 2004, he went on a 2-hour rampage through Granby, systematically destroying businesses and buildings connected to anyone he was feuding with. The rampage only ended when the killdozer became stuck in a building's basement. Tragically, that's where Heemeyer took his own life. He kept that bulldozer a secret until he was ready to unleash it onto the town. During his 2-hour rampage, he caused upwards of $7 million in damages, and it remains one of the most destructive acts of revenge in American history. 21. Paris Catacombs. In September 2004, the Paris police made a shocking discovery in an uncharted section of the city's famous catacombs. There was a fully functional underground cinema, complete with a stocked bar, a restaurant, and even a professional electricity setup. It was a wild find, and they headed back to the station to sort out what to do about it. Well, they took too long talking and not jumping into action, because when they returned a few days later to investigate and trace the power lines, everything was gone. The electricity had been cut, and whoever built the space took the entire setup with them, leaving only a note that said, "Do not try to find us." The cinema is thought to be created by a secret group of urban explorers and artists called Les Mexicains de Perfection, also known as Les UX. However, this was not proven, and no one ever took credit for the underground hotspot. 20. Roofman. Escaped prison inmate Jeffrey Allen Manchester, aka Roofman, went on the lam in 2004 and pulled off one of the strangest fugitive stories ever. This man broke into a Toys R Us in Charlotte, North Carolina, through the roof. He then built himself a secret hideout in the store and lived there for months completely undetected. This man was living the high life on the down low. He created a small concealed space where he slept, watched DVDs, and even played with toys he took right off the shelves. He avoided detection by eating baby food and using a baby monitor to keep tabs on customers and employees. He'd sneak out at night to shower and exercise at a nearby fitness center before returning to his toy store home. His setup was eventually discovered, as you would expect. And yes, it did lead to his capture. And it also led to this becoming one of the top news stories all across the nation. 19. The Lost World. The year was 1997, and Jeff Goldblum pulled off one of the greatest rickrolls of the century using the video game The Lost World Jurassic Park. The game had a secret ending that, if players managed to unlock, they got a live-action clip of Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm. What made this even more unhinged was the message. Was he there to congratulate the players? Nope. He was there to roast them. Goldblum's cheeky video told them to put the game down, go outside and interact with real people, especially people of the opposite sex, and actually live. It was sarcastic, it was hilarious, and it was actually some pretty good life advice. This message became a legendary Easter egg among fans. They would spend hours beating the game over and over just to get to the video and relive the hilarious magic. It's one of video gaming's most memorable fourth wall breaks. 18. Queen's Messengers. Did you know that the United Kingdom has a secretive group of couriers called the Corps of King's Messengers? Well, let me tell you all about them. They hand-deliver all the classified documents to the British embassies and high commissions all over the world. These folks travel in plain clothes and blend in as ordinary passengers, but with a super big secret. They're carrying diplomatic packages that are protected under the Vienna Convention. Known as diplomatic bags, these satchels are exempt from airport security searches and x-rays due to diplomatic immunity. No one, and I mean no one, can legally open or inspect them. There is a catch though. While the bags themselves have diplomatic immunity, the messengers do not. They can be detained by foreign governments, have their personal belongings searched, and even face charges if they break the law. Imagine carrying one of the world's most classified bags and ending up in a holding cell because you did something wrong. Try explaining that to your boss. 17. Pedestrian tunnels. Want a way to stay out of the Los Angeles traffic? Grab yourself a good pair of walking shoes and go beneath the downtown core to the sprawling network of underground pedestrian tunnels. They were originally built in the early 1900s to connect government buildings and courthouses, and they spanned several city blocks. The tunnels were secretly used to transport mobsters, murderers, and even over $1 billion in cash between banks. They also served as a fallout shelter during the Cold War. In the later years, they secretly housed the homeless, who made the tunnels into makeshift shelters. And yes, in true LA fashion, movies have been shot there as well. The tunnels have witnessed a whole century of LA's hidden history. While most are closed to the public now, they've served as hiding places, hidden spaces, and hosted everything from perp walks to Hollywood films. 16. Trinity Test. Back in the late 40s, a Kodak camera company employee was developing film when something strange kept happening. The film was developing with an unusual fogging that couldn't be explained by the normal causes. he decided to investigate. And what he found was shocking. He traced the contamination to a radioactive fallout from the secret Trinity nuclear test that happened in New Mexico in 1945. It was the first atomic bomb detonation by the US government. Little did the government realize, or maybe they did but didn't care, that the bomb contained enough radioactive material that it spread from New Mexico to Kodak's film production center in Rochester, New York. The employee chose to keep it a secret though. He didn't want the government backlash nor public panic. He only revealed his findings a few years later in 1949 after the secret test became known to the general public. Imagine finding out a huge government secret while you're just toiling away at your normal day job. Wild. 15. Citicorp Center. Another doozy discovered on the job came in 1978 when an architecture student studying the Citicorp Center in New York City made the horrific finding that the skyscraper had a structural flaw that could cause it to collapse during strong winds. This became even more alarming with Hurricane Ella heading straight for the city. The student alerted the building's engineers and they confirmed his fears. The bolted joints would not stand up against the incoming weather. City officials decided to keep the danger secret while the engineers worked quickly to solve the problem. They spent nights welding and reinforcing the structure while police quietly prepared a 10-block evacuation plan, including the thousands of people who occupied the building itself. As luck would have it, the repairs were made just in time for the hurricane to change course. The public didn't learn anything about this near-deadly situation until years later. 14. Modern color printers. Are you aware that your printer is secretly spying on you every single time you use it? No? Well, you're about to learn something fun. When you print a color document, your printer is secretly marking it with nearly invisible yellow dots to track you. This hidden code, called printer steganography, is embedded on each page. The tiny dots contain your printer's serial number and the exact date and time the document was printed. You can't see these with the naked eye, but they are fully visible under blue lights and magnification. The system was developed as a security measure to help law enforcement and governments trace counterfeit documents and illegal materials right back to the owner of the printer. The feature has been used for years and years, with most people having no idea. So, the next time you want to print something anonymously, just know that you may not be anonymous at all. 13. Sears. The year was 1955, and Christmas was coming up fast. Sears decided to do something a little extra special that year and set up a phone line for children to call Santa Claus. That sounds lovely, right? I mean, it was. Except, they printed the wrong number. The line children were actually calling connected them to the Continental Air Defense Command, the predecessor to NORAD. Whoops. The officers manning the line decided they weren't going to rain on the children's parade and jumped right in to join in the fun. They answered those calls and gave the children updates on Santa's location, tracking his journey around the world. And the tradition stuck. NORAD continues to track Santa every Christmas Eve to this day. What started as some holiday cheer and an accidental wrong number has turned into a decades-long tradition full of Santa fun. 12. Pascagoula Abduction. In 1973, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker from Pascagoula, Mississippi, walked into their local sheriff's office to tell an unbelievable story. They claimed to be victims of an abduction. But not just any old abduction. The men were adamant that they were taken and had escaped from the clutches of aliens with lobster-like claws. Obviously, deputies thought it was a hoax. They left the men alone in a room equipped with audio surveillance to listen in on what they would say by themselves. Instead of them trying to come up with a story for their lie, the secret tape captured the men very obviously terrified and speaking in shaky voices as they went over what happened during their abduction. It seemed the guys were well and truly traumatized. The recording has become one of the most compelling pieces of evidence that this may have actually happened, or that at least something happened with these men. Aliens with lobster claws? That sounds outlandish to everyone, except Hickson and Parker. The Pascagoula Abduction remains one of the most famous cases in US history that hinges on that secret recording. 11. Red Cell. What's the best way to test out a security system? Have your own people try to break it. That's exactly what the US Navy did in the 80s when it wanted to flush out any potential breaches. They formed a team of elite former Navy SEALs called Red Cell. Their job was to act like terrorists. Red Cell's track record quickly became alarming. They infiltrated secure military bases, planted fake bombs, stole classified documents, breached Air Force One, and even kidnapped high-ranking officials. Nothing was off limits, and nothing could stop them. As you can imagine, military leadership was furious and completely embarrassed. The team proved their point. Security wasn't as tight as everyone believed. This secret mission worked, though. It exposed vulnerabilities that led to massive improvements in defense protocol. 10. White House Chief Calligrapher. Speaking of the government, did you know the White House has a full-time chief calligrapher whose entire job is to create stunning handwritten invitations, place cards, greetings, and official proclamations for state dinners and presidential events? This isn't just a ceremonial role either. It's a serious position for a very serious artist. Every single handwritten document that leaves the White House reflects the formality of the presidency, and the chief calligrapher ensures perfection for everything, from dinner invites to official handwritten documents. Why type them up when they can be beautifully handwritten? The salary for this position? As of 2020, the chief calligrapher made $109,200. While most of us struggle to sign our names legibly, there's a person sitting in the White House getting paid over 6 figures for having the most amazing penmanship in America. 9. Code Pink. Have you ever been in the hospital and heard the term Code Pink over the intercom? Did you know that's one of the most terrifying codes for a hospital to call? It means there's a missing infant, and it triggers a mass emergency response. When Code Pink is called, all available staff are to drop what they're doing and secure the exits, monitor the hallways, and help find the missing baby. The hospital goes into a serious lockdown, and every single hallway, room, and camera is carefully monitored for signs of the abducted child. Why use codes instead of letting the public know what's going on? The last thing a hospital wants to do is cause panic among patients and visitors. Most people won't know what the code is, which is the way the hospital wants to keep it. Situations like this are stressful enough. Imagine the chaos if every single person began to panic. So maybe we shouldn't have put this one. Sorry, hospitals. 8. London's Christmas ban. Christmas in London is a magical time. Decorations, celebrations, and holiday cheer are abundant in the city. But it hasn't always been that way. In 1644, during Oliver Cromwell's Puritan rule, Christmas was outright banned in England. And by banned, I mean banned. Cromwell's government decided to one-up the Grinch and deem Christmas too fun, too excessive, and way too pagan. Their solution? Ban it completely. And I don't just mean the government not celebrating. I mean the government sent troops into the streets to bah humbug everyone's holiday. They patrolled every street, every house, and every single person. They confiscated holiday meals, and anyone caught celebrating faced punishments. The Puritans genuinely believed they were protecting true Christianity by canceling the holiday. But this move was so wildly unpopular that it fueled massive resentments against the government and Cromwell himself. Nevertheless, Cromwell didn't back down. The ban stayed in place for over a decade until 1660, when King Charles II returned to power and revoked the anti-Christmas legislation. 7. Steinert Hall under piano store. If you live in Boston, you may not know that on Boylston Street, there's a forgotten treasure beneath the piano store. Steinert Hall is a historic underground concert hall that was built by Morris Steinert. It features ornate architecture and was designed with excellent acoustics in mind. For decades, this hall hosted countless events and concerts. The stunning design and superior sound quality made it a popular place for music acts as well as music fans. Sadly though, over time it fell into disrepair and was eventually abandoned. The doors closed in 1942. Nowadays, it's used for nothing more than storage for piano parts from the shop above. Most Bostonians have no idea it even exists, or that once upon a time, Steinert Hall held performances of a lifetime that included famous musicians like Sergei Rachmaninoff, Josef Hoffman, and former Prime Minister of Poland, Ignacy Jan Paderewski. In the 90s, the hall was visited by Sir Elton John, who loved the apocalyptic atmosphere. 6. Patron saint of television. The Catholic Church seems to have patron saint for everything, including television. And the wildest part is the woman who is named for the patron saint of television wasn't even alive when TVs were invented. Let's talk about Clare of Assisi, the nun who died in 1253, centuries before even electricity existed. As the story goes, Sister Clare was too poor to attend Mass one day, but God knew how devoted she was and decided to help her out by projecting the church service onto her bedroom wall. She got to watch the entire thing from her bed like some kind of divine streaming service. Amazing. Fast forward to 1958. Pope Pius XII looked into the story and decided Clare's miracle had to be recognized. And with TV being a household staple now, it was only fitting to make her the patron saint of television and telecommunications. So yeah, a 13th century nun is the spiritual protector of your Netflix binges. 5. The North Pole was once tropical. Okay, I need you to close your eyes and picture the North Pole. What do you see? Ice? Snow? Polar bears? Temperatures that'll freeze your face off? Yeah, same. But did you know that 55 million years ago, the Arctic was basically Florida? During the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, the North Pole's temperature was a warm 74 degrees Fahrenheit. There were swampy forests, palm trees, and even turtles and alligators living on the land. No ice in sight. How do we know this? Through fossils, of course. Scientists discovered remains of tropical creatures that lived their best lives once upon a time on what is now the most frozen tundra on Earth. I mean, isn't it wild how our planet holds so many secrets? 4. Corinthian Leather. Have you ever heard of Corinthian Leather? It sounds super fancy and luxurious, right? The kind of material that would scream wealth and sophistication? Well, I hate to break it to you, but it's actually completely made up. Chrysler coined the term Corinthian leather in 1974 to promote its special new interiors for the Chrysler Imperial LeBaron, and more famously, Cordoba in 1975. They wanted people to feel special when they sat down on those buttery seats and pay the hefty price tag. They even hired actor Ricardo Montalban to star in TV commercials to promote the new car with their fancy leather. They played it off as if this were high-end and exclusive. It was all a lie, though. The leather they used actually came from a regular supplier in New Jersey. There was nothing special or fancy about it. No exclusive tanning process, no ancient techniques, no rare livestock were used. Just normal, everyday leather with a fun new name. Did it work? Yup. Were people duped? You bet. This advertising con job had people hooked, and those cars sold like hotcakes. 3. London Frost Fairs. Did you know that the winter used to be so brutal that the River Thames used to actually freeze? And that it was so frozen you could walk on it? That's what happened from the 16th to 19th centuries. And what did Londoners do when the river was all ice? Throw massive parties. These celebrations were called Frost Fairs, and they were wild. Vendors would set up stalls right on the ice to sell drinks, food, and trinkets. There would be makeshift pubs, souvenirs, games, and performances. Some fairs even featured ice bowling and horse races. One year there were even elephants. Yes, elephants. These frost fairs kept London hopping during the frigid Little Ice Age. Leave it to the people of England to turn a frozen river into an opportunity to have a little fun. Like they say, when life gives you ice, you bring the elephants. 2. Atlat. Have you ever heard of an atlat? I hadn't either until I dove headfirst into this rabbit hole. It's an ancient spear-throwing device that was used for thousands of years. It was a huge game changer for anyone trying to hunt or defend themselves. The atlat would act like an extension of your arm and give extra leverage to launch the dart. When I say launch, I mean launch. This device could send the dart flying at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. That's faster than most people can throw a baseball. It stored and released energy through a flexible dart and gave the user infinitely more accuracy than using just their hands. Ancient people used this long before bows and arrows became the go-to for hunting. It was effective, it was easy to use, and it was deadly. So yeah, our ancestors were out here throwing darts at highway speeds. Mad respect. 1. Business plot of 1933. In 1933, some of the wealthiest businessmen in the country hatched a plan to overthrow President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yes, really. Titans like J.P. Morgan Jr., Irene Dupont, and Robert Sterling Clark were furious about FDR's New Deal policies and decided they had to oust him. They wanted him replaced with a fascist military dictatorship. To do this, they approached one of the most decorated Marines in U.S. history, Major General Smedley Butler. They asked him to lead the coup with the promise of an army of 500,000 veterans and millions of dollars in funding. What they didn't expect was Butler's response. He had no interest in overthrowing the government. Instead, he played along long enough to gather the evidence and took it all to Congress in 1934. He exposed the entire plot under oath. After investigation by the Congressional Committee, it was proven that this threat was real. The punishment for trying to stage a government coup? Shockingly, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No one was prosecuted, everyone got to walk away, and this story was swept under the rug. Well, that's it for our 25 best kept secrets. From hidden concert halls to an attempted government coup, the world is full of things no one ever wanted you to know. Makes you wonder what other secrets are still out there just waiting to be found out. If you enjoyed this journey through some of history's secrets, well, be sure to check out our other video, 25 everyday items with secret functions you didn't know about. But before you head out, make sure, like I said, like, share, comment, subscribe with that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the fun. Thank you guys so much. I love you all, and I'll catch you next time. Secrets aren't no fun unless you share with everyone.